Okay, I'm all for protesting. I want to support the rights of people to protest, of course. I'm just curious because sometimes I don't get this question answered. What are you protesting? So, what do they want to be the response to the protest?
From the players or
So there's the student protest, correct?
yeah.
So what do they want the result of the protest to be?
I think they want Verge Osbury fired. I think they want Miriam Seeger fired. I think if you were to ask most students at LSU, most people probably under the age of 40, if I could give you a little demographic there, they probably all want President Tom Galligan to resign immediately for his decision on Friday. It's intense, and there's a lot of online talk of LSU shouldn't even have a football team. A lot of people who are in big higher up places in this country, whether it's in the media, in the sports industry, what have you, are saying LSU doesn't even deserve a football team at this point because of how out of control they were with a lack of institutional control, with the Title IX just cover-ups. LSU has to do right. And that protest was basically these TASA members sitting in the road just to prevent the players from driving their vehicles, which is very interesting because it was almost trying to say, hey, we're going to take away one of your privileges today, just to kind of remind them that, hey, this isn't going away. Just because all weekend it was crazy and Monday morning you thought it would just be different. No, we're here again. And I think that was really cool to see from LSU students. I'm really proud of LSU students for doing that. I think they understand why Verge Osbury was not ousted so quickly. Selective service, that's very hard to get someone ousted from that position. But I think they want to see more done. And I think LSU are taking tiny steps, but they're the right steps. I want to see more and more and more.
Yeah, when it comes to protesting, the issue that I have is sometimes the manner in which the protest is displayed. And based on what you just described, I just don't like the thought of 105 football players and who knows how many would be involved with this kind of conduct right now. I don't think it involves any current football players, correct?
Nope. It doesn't.
So I don't want to see them being impeded to go to the practice field and practice football. Doesn't have anything to do with them.
Absolutely. That's the thing. I encourage the protest. I support the protest fully, but I also want the protest. I want to speak to the protesters right now directly to the TASA members. There is not a player on this roster who is not sickened by what they heard and what they read. There is not a single player on this roster who doesn't care about what happened. There is not a single player on this roster who doesn't want to enact change in their own lives. I've seen it. I've heard these words from these players myself. I've heard them talk to me. I've heard a player cry to me over what happened. So if you want to tell me that the players and this team don't care, well, maybe I should publicize a little more how much they care and how much they've told me they care. So, I mean, it's a delicate issue. I get it, because the perpetrators were themselves football players, and the people who protected them were in the football community and the athletics community. I 100% understand that, and understand why people who are unfamiliar with athletics or even straight up against athletics, why they can't understand why maybe these current crop of Tigers aren't rapists and wife beaters and girlfriend beaters, because they're not. And I feel like we need to understand that we can't paint all the protesters one way. We can't paint all the Tigers one way. We can't paint all the past football players one way. We can't paint everyone in the athletic department one way. We need to be very careful about what we're doing here and who we're saying did what and what they did. And you have to use the word allegedly. You have to be very careful about what you're saying here. And people need to be smart.
So there are current football players that you've heard from directly.
Yes.
Do some of these players take to social media at all? I'm not saying that they should. I'm just curious as to whether they've made any statements in social media.
I'm unaware of any like public social media statements by these players. There could be. I'm just unaware of them. I know I've seen a little subtle comments about, things got to change, stuff like that from a few guys, but nothing straight up, nothing definitive. I think they've been told to refrain from that. But I have had 4 different players talk to me, 4 current players, 2 of which are, maybe bench guys, maybe bench options, but the other 2 are 2 of the biggest stars on the team at LSU. And they were absolutely sickened. They were absolutely disgusted. They went to the Coach Orgeron. They went to the president. They demanded answers themselves. So it's not just the students who are looking for answers. It's not just the TASA members. The LSU Tigers themselves are looking for answers.
Well, that's good to hear. That is good to hear that they have a concern for what's happened in the past, even though, they could easily say, you know what, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's not going on now. Leave me alone.
Exactly.
Take care of other people. But they don't want to be associated with that, and they want that type of behavior to be dealt with, and they want that to be dealt with in a manner to prevent it from coming back into the program as well.